Well, hello glue troopers and welcome back to the Tarbus, and I've got the AC going. Well, hello glue troopers and welcome back to the Tarbus. We're a one night only special this week. As you know, I just got back from a 4-day trip. I'm off tomorrow and I go right back on a 4-day trip. There's a lot that's happened, so we have a lot to cover. So this will be a slightly longer than normal one, but you know, you've been deprived for 4 days of no Max online, so here we go. Begin with, there's no nice way to get around this. The primary artist who does the box art for Roden in the Ukraine was killed. And the only information I got was it said he was killed in front of his home. I have no idea if it has anything to do with the invasion that's going on. It's a real tragedy, and the man did some magnificent work, and what can you say? I mean, this is just sad. But I wanted to get that out there. I know a lot of you already have gotten some emails from some of you, and it's just a tragedy. There's no upside to this. And I think for that, we can have a moment of silence. I got home today, and my poor wife was beside herself because she had spent all day looking for a wig for one of her dolls that is very expensive, like a $35 wig that she had modified. And she'd torn the house apart, her workstation, everything. And without getting into a long-winded story about it, we all have had that time where we couldn't find a piece or something, and I'm just kind of figured you guys might want to share your experience where you just spent a day or 2 days looking for a part. I mean, it just drove you to distraction. The good news is that in almost an act of desperation, she took out some boxes that apparently it was supposed to not even been off the shelf or anything, and she's like, here, you can go through those. And well, literally the last box, and if I had not found it here, we would have given up for the day and she would have been in a bad mood all evening. But literally the last, and of course the old joke, you know, oh, it's the last place I looked. Well, of course you would have quit looking after you found it. But no, this was actually the last thing we were going to look at. And I'd gone through all like 4 boxes. The last one was that it? And oh, you could just see the wave of emotion, of relief. She actually had 2 identical boxes that each had the same costume in them, and she had put the wig in the other box and had not realized that you can see where that happened. And I'm thinking we've all had something like that happen, and that's the kind of thing we might talk about at a live stream. Speaking of which, so put down in the comments below some story like that if you want folks to know about it, or save it for the live stream. There won't be a live stream this Saturday because I'm going to be at work. So the next one, though, I've got a couple of things lined up, including something like this. Also, we're going to talk about the worst model on your shelf. I was looking at some of the models and I went, you know, that particular one, that P80, that's just terrible. I mean, that's a kind of job an 8-year-old would do. And I mean, I'm not a terribly skilled 8-year-old. And I was just slapped that thing together one time because I wanted a companion piece for the F-84 that I actually spent a lot of time doing just right. I wanted to have a Korean jet to go with it up on a stick. And I had always intended to get back. This is just a sort of a slapdash job until I can get around. The paint didn't match. Mainly the nose paint did not match. I didn't have the right color red to match the stripe, because this kit came with the stripes, but you had to paint the nose red on your own. And it's always kind of annoyed me, and it's just one of those back burner projects I've never gotten around to. I've got 10 kits right here that I need to get to. I need to finish the Stinson. I need to do the big rig and the Dodge for the Canada build. I haven't gotten to the Kafir. I still have to try and finish the PT boat and the Pibber before the watercraft build. I still have to get to the Faller helicopter, and how long has that Sweepy been sitting there? And then the little Lexington and the Hosho. I'd like to have them done time with the watercraft build. By the way, folks have been asking, the watercraft build stuff is supposed to be in at the end of the month. But we've had some, I'm going to be working right up to the end of the month, so I might get the video out a little bit later. So if you send it to me like the last day of the month, it'll probably, or even maybe a day later, it'll probably slide in under the wire. I actually got started on it already, but every time I do something, you know, and oh, I like this section with the submarines in it, and then people send more submarines. Like, well, I like this too, and it's just it's a work. You know, I enjoy the video editing process almost as much as model building, so the whole thing's just a lot of fun for me. And so that answer, the long way around, is that the end of this month is when you should have your watercraft pictures in, and then we move on to the airliner build. So I was at the South Florida Railway Museum last night, and the guys were there working on the trains. I was there with my buddy Ken because I had a Fort Lauderdale overnight, not a long one. Sorry, Barry. It was Ken picked us up. We went straight to the get something to eat, the Rail Club, and then was right back to the hotel. But I got these pictures while I was there, and I was joking with the guys. And I was looking how they made their liquid water, and they had several techniques. Some of the stuff they use, one guy likes to use something called Envirotex, and then another gentleman had this chemical that he liked, which is made for making water, which is really called just realistic water, and from Woodland Scenes or Woodland Scenics. Anyway, those were, because I'm going to want those for when I do the ship build and the whole thing, you know, I talked about with the upper half of the Godzilla, with this big 1:144 Polar Lights Godzilla that was sent to me. Thank you, Glue Trooper. And the point that I wanted to get about that was I originally had said I was going to try not to cut the Godzilla in half, because I was trying to make a diorama that was reusable, but it got to the point that the base was going to be this deep, so that wasn't going to work. So I said, okay, I'm going to cut it in half, and what I'm going to do with the bottom half, and then it hit. I could make a diorama of Nakajima Haruna in the costume. And what I thought I would do, and this is just how great, you know, when you talk to your other model builders, and everybody has these great creative ideas because we're all creative people. And okay, so making, first I thought I'll just do from this snapshot. Then I thought, wait a minute. There's no kit that's the right size to make the guy. So what I'll do is I'll make the bottom of the half the costume with the harness and everything sitting there, and just put it on a diorama and just call it, like he's not in it at the time, just call it like tea time. You know, something like he's taking a break. And one of the guys said, well, you know what you could do is, because the scene where you really see his feet doing, one of the scenes where you see his feet doing a lot of damage, in fact, it's about the first scene I remember from the movie, was where the train is, the original 1954, you see the crew, the engineers, the train, and they're looking under a bridge, and they see his legs stomping up the tracks, and they can't get stopped, and they crash into him. Because what you could do is put a bridge in front of it, so that when you look at it straight on, you see it like in the movie, like a diorama, you know, just his legs, lower half. But when you look at it like down on a table, you know, you can see that it's got the harness and everything, and it's like, oh, it's just a break on the miniature set. So you're kind of getting two different views, so you're kind of getting a twofer, you know, one that looks like a clip from the movie, and the other looks like a backstage scene. And then when I got home, my wife asked me out of the blue, she goes, listen, I don't need this for anything. I've got and it was a adult male doll about the correct size. Now it's got a Caucasian face, so it'll have to be modified, but that may allow me to actually make something along the lines of this diorama. I don't know if I hadn't got it all figured out yet, and I don't know when I'll get this done, but that way I won't have to lose half the model. I'll find something actually really good to do with it. And the top half, of course, will be made with the water flowing off of it, so I can set it beside model ships and, you know, depose them by it, because what's a model ship or model sub without Godzilla coming out of the water? I mean, let's face it, Godzilla's like bacon. Makes everything better. So that's what I long-range plan. I have a lot of other stuff in line in front of it, but I thought you guys might get a tickle out of that. And of course, I'm willing to listen to ideas. So the next thing on the agenda is I got a box today from Peter M. And Peter, I want to thank you. Now, I already opened it up. So what we have is the Airfix 1/72nd scale Pearl Harbor Curtis P40, that's Taylor and Welch, and I am which was the 18th Pursuit Group Wheeler Field. And as you guys know, Taylor and Welch are the two guys that took off out of Haleiwa and managed to shoot down several Japanese aircraft, mostly bombers, then land under fire, rearm, take off again, and shoot down some more, including 1-0. And it was Ken Taylor and George Welch. And the airplanes that they used were P-40Bs. They did not have the shark's mouth. And I have two P-40s that I was planning to use because I want to remake the P-40 Pearl Harbor Boys, or the Pearl Harbor P-40 Boys video that got taken down. That was just shy of 1 million views when it came down. And since I don't monetize, it wasn't a money thing. It was somebody gave me a copyright infringement. I did borrow some stuff. So this next one will be completely organic, but I'll use models instead of a lot of the stock photos that I used before. Should leave me a little latitude. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Also, gave me something that, believe it or not, I did not have in my collection, and that's an SR-71. And you know, I didn't have an F-16 until recently, till somebody sent me one, and I didn't have an SR-71, and these are like kind of standard equipment for any kit model builder's collection. This is the Revell kit, and that'll look good on the shelf when I figure out where I'm going to make room for it. And also, he sent me this book, Slow But Deadly, World War II Memoirs of an SBD Dive Bomber Pilot. The SBD, only the greatest airplane ever. And I've got a bunch of them all hanging up around the TARDIS because I used them all for that Battle of Midway, Air Operations Battle of Midway video that I did. Now, they're pretty slapdash build jobs because they were just for the camera at distance. But, and this book looks like something I could take with me on the road. I will not be taking a kit with me for the road build because my next schedule is also pretty jam-packed. There's some international stuff down in the Caribbean. It gets to be a hassle, but this will be perfect. So that pretty much brings us up to date on everything. And thank you, Peter. I really do appreciate it. I think that will cover tonight's visit to the TARDIS. I don't know if I'll have a chance to get anything done while I'm on the road, but I did want to make sure I get something out tonight. Tomorrow, we're really busy. I am supposed to have a phone call with Tom Daniel with TD tomorrow. He and I have communicated by email a great deal. This will be the first time we've actually had a chance to chat, so I hope that goes off. I don't know if I'll have a chance to put out a video tomorrow because the very next morning early I go up, I have a doctor's appointment, and then I go straight to work. So it's not going to be fun until I get home. I should be back Tuesday. Hopefully I'll be cranking some content out and getting to work on some of these models. And I had to turn the air conditioner off before I filmed this, and yep, we're running the air conditioners in March in Florida. So there you go. Guys, take care of yourselves. I'm going to put some pictures and video I took of the South Florida Railway Museum on the outro. Take care of yourselves, and as always, model on. Stop already. Wind down. That's the chair. So I was at the my buddy Ken's Train Club, which is actually the South Florida Rail Museum, and you know what? Where's my phone? Where's the box? So I'll make sure I say his name right.